Do you know what you're eating? Do you know what your food is eating? There are so many questions consumers are unaware of when consuming and purchasing beef, poultry, and pork. Have you ever been sick before? Have been prescribed antibiotics? Well, these antibiotics are not only used for human health, but are also given to the animals that we eat. In 1951, the FDA approved farmers to use antibiotics in farm animals to help them gain weight and grow in size. Since then, most farmers in the world have used antibiotics in their farm animals to ensure they produce a quality meat product at a high rate of efficiency. Some advantages that go along with antibiotic use in animals include more meat production in a smaller amount of time compared to no antibiotic use in farm animals. With a growing population, more and more people need to be fed, and by giving these farm animals antibiotics to help them grow quicker, can in turn produce more meat which can feed this growing population our world has. One goal for antibiotic drugs is for treatment of existing disease conditions in animals, used to maintain healthy livestock order for all animals involved. Animals must obtain appropriate weight to stay healthy and not get others sick. When looking at the pig growth rate, we can see that overall from birth to maturity doesn't take too long. However, with antibiotics, the amount of time required to grow pigs to slaughter is decreased, leading to quicker and increased profits. This is because using antibiotics in low doses can also increase the efficacy of animal bodies in absorbing nutrients from feed. Just like in pigs, it improves the efficiency of nutrient absorption in the digestive system of many livestock species as well. Drawbacks that show concerns is that the need for preventative drugs has risen due to the effects of factory farming because animals are forced into small enclosed spaces. This increases the number of CFUs, or colony-forming units of bacteria. The rates of CFUs found in traditional farms usually range from about 100 to 300. In large-scale operations, the rates of CFUs range into thousands. In a study done by the Canadian Antimicrobial Resistance Surveillance System in 2016, most of the antibiotics go towards the growth promotion of the animal. One surprising thing to note about these statistics is that one of the antibiotics given to these animals is used for disease treatment. This is concerning because of the fact that some of these animals already had a disease in them that needed to be treated. Another takeoff that is very scary to the public are microbes. Microbes exposed to antibiotics can evolve to resist those antibiotics, creating what are described as superbugs that increase infection risk to animals and people and which cannot be treated with our current state of antibiotics. The rate at which these superbugs are spreading is particularly alarming. In 2002, 50% of Salmonella microbes found in raw chicken were antibiotic resistant. In 2011 samples, that number increased to 74%. The Environmental Working Group found such bacteria in 81% of raw ground turkey, 69% of raw pork chops, 55% of raw ground beef, and 39% of raw chicken parts purchased in stores in 2011. So what do companies do about this? Concerning to our everyday lives, 14 of the top 25 companies, a clear majority, have taken at least some steps to limit use of antibiotics in all or some of their supply chains. Companies that are included are Chipotle, Panera, and Chick-fil-A. These 14, accounting for 2/3 of all fast food industry revenue, received passing grades. These grades are based on honorable policies and practices with respect to antibiotic use. Some people may ask where exactly the U.S. ranks among other nations that produce meat. The United States is one of the greatest users of antibiotics in animals. However, some countries that limit their antibiotic use actually export more meat. For example, the country of Denmark uses a small amount of drugs in their animals, but has become one of the world's leading exports in pork.
The Danish farmers observe higher standards and constantly strive to improve the welfare of the pigs,
as there is more space for the pig to roam around.
These farmers are known to have high food standards and overall healthy animals.
Taj Monk is a pig farmer who has over 12,000 pigs in his farm.
Inside his barn, there was a small medicine cabinet of about a dozen or so antibiotics that he used to treat his animals. He goes through and only gives the antibiotics to pigs who need them. He also explained that once a year, the Danish government meets with farmers to discuss the amounts of antibiotics they gave to their animals. Farmers that have sued too many antibiotics receive warnings from the government. This can be compared to the United States, in which farmers administer antibiotics to all pigs regardless of condition. Who is regulating these antibiotics? The answer is kind of the FDA. The Food and Drug Administration has broken up the antibiotics into 4 categories. These include treatment for disease, controlling a disease already present, prevention of any further disease, and growth promotion. The FDA has asked that farmers and companies reduce the amount of antibiotics used for growth promotion, but that was only a suggestion and hasn't been implemented in any law yet.
So what can the U.S. do to help? What can we do to help? Ideas that we came up with are having taxes on antibiotics in order for people not to purchase them for animals that do not need them. Any farm animals that have been fed antibiotics must have that labeled on the package their meat ends up in. Also, people trying to raise their own livestock prevents a vast amount of animals in farms. If there aren't a lot of animals, then farmers can check the small amount of animals they have and only give the unhealthy animals antibiotics. We have a choice, and together we can change the system, and everyone can have a juicy steak knowing exactly what's in it and, most importantly, what's not in it.